What was I thinking taking my entire family up to Montana for Thanksgiving in a truck that literally had 200 miles on it? We got back from our trip to Montana a week and a half ago, something like that, and it was relatively uneventful, which I have to say I'm really stoked on. I don't know what got into me when I thought that it would be a good idea to take my family, the truck I just built, and hit the road for a 2,700-mile road trip. Honestly, it fast tracks all the problems because they're gonna reveal themselves on a road trip like that. And I did have a few issues. If you've watched my first video, which I'll link up here, if you have not checked out the video of my road trip to Montana, go ahead and right up here. I'm also going to list some playlists up here or over here, one of these places, or down in the description, as to what I did to the Suburban, because if you are late to my channel, you've missed all the fun. I have been building a Squarebody Suburban with the come-in swap for the past 6 months. It's actually been going on for longer than that, but I finished it up at the beginning of November. Had some surgery on my arms to fix all the overuse injuries I had, and then rolled out the door straight up to Montana. So what happened on this trip? Well, nothing all that eventful, to be honest. The truck ran flawlessly, apart from areas that I knew I might have some issues with. There was some final last-minute cobbling together that I partook in. You heard about the throttle spring disappearing. I'm still driving around with my girl's hair ties as the spring now, which is awesome. Sometimes the simplest fixes are the best fixes. And I also had the EGT bung go, fix that with hose clamps, and that's still doing good. Bigger issues on the way home. We did a long day on the Saturday leaving Montana. We left Montana, Victor, Montana, and made it all the way to St. George. That was 800 miles, and took us about 12 hours. That was a long day. And then on the Sunday, I knew we were going to have drama getting back to SoCal just because everybody leaves Vegas heading back to SoCal on Sunday. And so I wanted to get out of St. George early and cannonball back. Well, we got out of St. George early, but it didn't seem to make much of a difference because when we hit the grade going up to Searchlight on the way back to State Line, man, the traffic was nuts. And that's when my clutch decided that it was going to stop working for me. So we were stuck in traffic, and I'd just been rowing through the gears, just trying to stay with the flow of traffic, stop and go, never in a gear that was perfect. It was like stuck between first and second, you know, that kind of thing. And the clutch started getting harder and harder to push. I could push it, and it wasn't really doing much until all of a sudden it didn't do anything. So luckily, traffic was stopped. I jump out, wife jumps in the driver's seat, pushed the truck over to the shoulder, dive under, and I found that my slave cylinder had stripped out the bolts on the bell housing and popped out. So no shift. This was one of those things that I toyed with the idea of replacing the slave cylinder before I left, well, the clutch master and slave, and I didn't, ran out of time. So under the truck, I couldn't find any more bolts to fit into in my gear bag. I didn't have any bolts that would fit into those holes on the back of the slave cylinder, on the back of the bell housing, and I ended up robbing one from my 14 bolt in the back, took one of the diff cover bolts, and it worked perfectly. What had happened is the bolts that I'd used didn't have enough thread purchase into the bell housing, and so the repeated force from the clutch fork, which is pretty substantial, just they must have rattled loose or something and just popped the last 2 threads out. I've since fixed it, but that was challenging because it didn't just fix it right then. First, I couldn't figure out, I fixed the slave cylinder, but then I realized I hadn't put the actuator rod into the shift fork, so I had to get back underneath it and fix that. And then we still weren't being able to move forward, which was a little nerve-wracking, but I was able to fix that too. Turns out my range box, the 203 range box, had slipped into neutral. And so, yeah, all's well that ends well. We got back. We actually made it from St. George back to Santa Barbara on a single tank of gas. Did something like 500 miles. The burb ran great. I mean, it just, all the little stuff that went wrong was not part of the main build. It was the ancillary stuff that I just cobbled together to make it up there. So what was I thinking? Why did I do this? I have a habit of, and I say this, I'm trying to be modest here. I do things big. Like, I knew that if I was going to build this truck and it was going to be reliable and it was going to be something that my family could use, that we should do that from the very beginning. If I was afraid to take the Suburban because I thought something would happen to it, then I hadn't built a truck that would fit my standards. If you watch my videos, you'll see that I'm meticulous as I build something. Generally knowing that once I have finalized an assembly, a fabrication, an install, whatever it is, I confidently move on to the next part, knowing that I got that resolved. And so I was fairly confident that we were going to be fine going up there, and we were. But that doesn't mean to say it's not stressful. It was incredibly stressful. First and foremost, it's a big truck to drive, and it's a long way to go. The truck, it drives and cruises fine once it's up to speed and you're on the freeway. Everything's great. Traffic sucks because it's such a big truck. Being a 12 valve, you know, it doesn't like to just creep along. It likes to get up and run. So why did I do it? Well, partly for the adventure. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, and this I knew would be a big adventure regardless. And I kind of rolled the dice and go with those things, knowing that I'm going to get a cool story out of it one way or the other. I either get a cool story explaining how things went sideways and we were able to resolve it, or I get a cool story about how everything exploded in my face and we had to turn around, tuck our tail, and run back. Or I get a cool story of when we succeeded. Fortunately, we succeeded with this. The truck exceeded all my expectations. Couldn't be more stoked on how it's working. And that brings me to my next segment. See, I started this channel 8 years ago now, and I've never really played the YouTube game. Click subscribe. Actually, do that. Click subscribe right now so so you can help keep my numbers up. That's all I really do with the YouTube game. I'm doing more of it now. I'm really working on my thumbnails and the titles and being consistent and interacting and doing all that because I've realized that I've tapped into something here. I've always been mechanical. I've always been capable with my hands, but nothing that nobody else has. I mean, I'm pretty normal in my abilities. I am stubborn and I am committed and I will see things through, which is 99% of the challenge. Just when you buckle down to something, see it through. And that way, you know when you start, you're going to have something cool at the end because you're not going to quit. So the channel has grown. I'm really stoked on where it is and where it's going and the response from everyone. And for a long time, I kind of wondered what was the reason behind this channel. And that has morphed over the years. In the beginning, my objective was to fill a void that I needed. When I was building my truck, there were so many things I wanted to see, either in a video or in a picture, that just wasn't out there. And so I vowed that I'm going to post up the pictures of what I'd want to see. If I'm buying a product, I want to see it from every angle. I want someone to tell me the good and the bad. If I'm learning how to weld, I want to be taught like all the pitfalls that you would make up front and tips and tricks on how to improve on that. And so that's what I set out to do. If you look at my old videos, that's explaining what high steer was and how to LS swap a vehicle and how radios work and beginning welding tips. The whole myriad of stuff. And I know that has resonated with a lot of you guys. I get a lot of awesome messages, and I have been super encouraged by hearing your guys' stories, hearing about what you guys have been able to accomplish. And the fact that I am motivating and encouraging you guys to get out and do what I'm doing, that just right there, I've accomplished my task. But as the channel has grown and I've embarked on larger and larger projects, I've decided that or I've come to the realization that I really love building these things. Not so much the hard grind, the dirty work. What I like doing with it is improving absolutely every area of the build I can. That down to, am I going to use different hardware? Am I going to use grade 8 instead of grade 5 hardware on all of the build? What am I going to do for the electrical? Am I going to simplify it? Am I going to make it more user-friendly? Am I going to make it more protected and serviceable? With the suspension, am I going to link it? Am I going to leaf spring it? How am I going to make it more reliable? How am I going to make it perform better for the conditions that the truck will be in? Engine selection, you name it. I view each part of the build as a separate project that at that moment, I devote my entire attention to, trying to make that the best I can make it. And I'm constantly learning and I'm constantly improving. I learned a ton building my Blazer, and I applied all that I learned to building the Burb, and I learned a ton on the Burb. And so I posted a video 5 months ago about truck for sale. I'll link that up here and down below also. And that's what I'm going to be doing. I love building cool stuff. I love building cool stuff and then going and using it for what it was intended. And if I can fire you guys up in the meanwhile, then even better. But I've also been approached by a lot of you guys asking if I would build your truck or you know, could I work on your truck? And the short answer is yes, but there's going to be a caveat. I'm not really interested in like installing suspension lifts or doing an engine swap. What I am interested in is doing a full ground up restoration. We're talking like just super high level builds with all the amenities, basically taking an old school truck and turning it into the best modern vehicle it can be, while still paying homage to the truck that it is. Because at the end of the day, it's a body on frame construction with solid axles and a big V8. So we're not going to turn it into a Prius by any stretch of the imagination, but we are going to take that truck and make it perform as good as a Chevy 3500 or a brand new Suburban would work, hopefully better. And that's where the channel's going. But here's the crazy news. I am moving to a much larger shop. I've been in the same place now for a year. When COVID came down, it was kind of time for me to move out of my garage and move into a shop space that I could dedicate to building the Suburban and building the Burb and the Blazer. And I've accomplished that. I've also ran into some serious space issues to the point where it's getting dangerous to really try and do what I do with having the body up in the air, rolling the frame out, axles coming out. There's no room to move. It's been challenging. But once again, I embrace that with the idea that if I'm doing this, I'm doing what you guys have to deal with. You know, I started on the side of the road working in the sun and in the rain, just like a lot of you guys out there do. Now, there are a ton of you guys that have shops and space to work. I wasn't fortunate enough to have that until pretty much last year. And I now have the opportunity to take it to the next level. So, here's what happened. About 6 months ago, no, it's been longer than that, maybe 9 months ago now, I was approached by a subscriber, someone who follows this channel on my Instagram, and they reached out to me. We ended up connecting after a couple of misconnections. And a long story short, this gentleman has purchased a shop here in Santa Barbara. It's amazing. It's amazing. I can't wait to show it you guys. And I am moving operations down there to begin what I'm calling the Squarebody Collective, which is going to be just building bespoke, ground-up Squarebody and other builds, and turning them into these just what I would consider ultimate vehicles. I'm going to be offering build consulting on my channel where I can spend an hour with whoever's contemplating a build, and we can discuss shortcuts, go through parts lists, talk about build objectives, and I can add color commentary on that and provide my feedback and product suggestions and build lists and things like that. Ramping up production on the seat brackets that I produce, in addition to launching some new products that you guys have been asking for, namely the the light rack mount that I have for the KC Gravity Pro 6 light bar on the Blazer. That's one product I think I'm going to be producing, and I got some other stuff up my sleeve. I am going to be hiring people, so if you are living here on the Central Coast or want to relocate and you have a working knowledge of shop tools and fabrication, let me know. Shoot me an email, james@merricksgarage.com. Yeah, we're going to build killer trucks, and I need people to help me do that. It's going to be a lot of grunting and grinding because that's what these trucks take to be built properly. But I want to grow, and I want more people to help me do that. So these builds are going to be available. I've actually picked up 2, soon to be 3 more squares. I've got one barn door Suburban, another 89 in blue. I also picked up an 86 M1008, which is quote unquote the Alabama Army truck. It's the green CUCV military version that comes with a diesel and 1-ton axles. I've got one of those that is going to be getting the treatment. And I've also got a couple other builds that I'm going to be doing. The shop is, probably 8 times, 10 times the size of what I'm in right now. Big parking lot, multiple rooms. I'm gonna have a fabrication area. I'm gonna have a main assembly area. I'm gonna have a clean electrical area. I'm gonna have a studio for the recording of the videos. I have a passion to build these things. I love the creative expression that I get to partake in and explore by building them. And I'm looking forward to partnering with some guys who share the same vision. If you are in the market for a brand new top of the line like King Ranch Ford, I have a truck that would be a much better solution. Imagine having all the amenities of a brand new top of the line, like just dialed truck, but in a square body version. I mean, that's what I want to do here. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. These trucks were awesome. They just need to be turned into, to help realize their full potential. They need some work. So that's what's coming up. It's been absolutely insane for the last 6 months. We're now in the midst of preparing that space downtown. It's getting all the floors done. We're going to be doing the walls, getting a bunch of lifts in. It's going to be next level. And I am so blessed and just beyond humbled as to the opportunity that I have. It's thanks to you guys who are watching that I have this opportunity, and I hope you guys will enjoy this next journey. The space is going to give me the opportunity to have multiple things going on at once. One of the challenges I've always had with my current shop is it's difficult to have like an engine install and fabrication going on at the same time because there's just not enough room. With this new shop, I'll have an area that's dedicated to electrical programming, tuning, that sort of thing. I'll have an area that's dedicated to welding, fabrication, and I'll still have room to do everything else. So more videos, higher quality content, more how-tos, and more killer builds. That's what is coming up. I've also got a lot of travel planned for next year already. Being able to tow the Blazer does really kind of open up a whole world of possibility for me. So it's go, go, go. I'm beyond stoked. I really don't know what else to say. God has been good to me, and I am really blessed. I'm excited to bring you guys this next chapter. I'm looking forward to bringing you along, and I'm looking forward to welcoming a lot of you guys to Santa Barbara to see what I'm building here. So I thank you guys for your continued support and just all the kindness that is shown to me through the channel. I told my wife that I don't think I've ever met a subscriber in person who hasn't been an awesome person. And I say that in all sincerity. I've been stopped at gas stations and in grocery stores and things like that. And every time I meet someone, you guys are awesome. You're just good people. And the fact that I'm attracting good people means that we can compound what I'm doing here, and that this whole idea of self-reliance and perseverance and dedication and commitment, if that can just ripple out, even better. So, yeah, a lot to share. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming up. I'm in the midst of moving right now, which is why I'm here in my own garage, because my shop is a disaster. Half my stuff is down at the new place, half my stuff is up at the old place, and I'm constantly running trips back and forth. So yeah, I will have a bunch of more content coming out for you, but be patient with me because my plate is full right now. But thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it. I'm going to link a video up here that is of a road trip that I did with my family when we went up to the Sierras. It was another awesome road trip of just exploring and camping, and we had a blast. It's one of my favorite videos to watch personally, and I think you guys would dig it too. So that's up there. The subscribe button is always down below. Make sure you click it if you are not already subscribed. Hit that bell too so you get notifications. So immediately as I post a video, you can stop what you're doing and run over to my channel to watch it in its entirety.